I'm Kaylee, and it is that time of year again. It is time for Jane Austen July. I look forward to Jane Austen July all year. I save up special books just to be for Jane Austen July. And this year I feel like I'm especially excited about it because I was able to introduce Jane Austen July to the Jane Austen Society of North America at the Georgia Regional Chapter. Back in May, I was invited to speak at one of their events, and I was able to tell them about BookTube, and of course they were especially interested to hear about Jane Austen July. Jane Austen July is hosted by Blatantly Bookish and Books and Things and Spinster's Library. So of course I will link their channels in the description. Be sure to go over and follow them if you want to hear all about all the Jane Austen-y goodness that is happening in July. And of course, please do subscribe to this channel and give this video a thumbs up if you love Jane Austen, and follow me over on Instagram and Goodreads and Storygraph and all the places. Every year, of course, we have our challenges. Sometimes I do none of the challenges. Sometimes I do some of the challenges and not others. This year, I'm doing most of the challenges. So let's dive in. Challenge number 1 is to read one of Jane Austen's main 6 novels. The read along for this year is Sense and Sensibility, and I was so glad to hear that because I had already planned to read Sense and Sensibility, but in Spanish. So I both have a Spanish audiobook that I might try, and then I also have it in Spanish on my Kindle, which is just like a free version, a free translation. So I'm not really sure which one I want to do. Last year, I read Emma by listening to it in Spanish on an audiobook, and I really enjoyed that audiobook. But I feel like, you know how it is with audiobooks, it's kind of hit or miss. And since Spanish is my second language, I feel like maybe just listening to it, I might miss some things. Maybe I would rather read it on my Kindle. The other good thing about reading it on my Kindle would be that I have a Spanish to English dictionary built right in. I can just click on a word and find out the definition. Whereas with an audiobook, the words kind of go by so fast and then you miss something and you're like, well, forget it. I'm not going to pause it and then look up something and all that. So I feel like it might be a better learning experience to enhance my Spanish vocabulary if I just read it on Kindle rather than listen to it. Then again, there's something to be said for listening to that foreign language. It just kind of gets that rhythm into your ears, you know? So I can't decide. I might do a little bit of both or something. I can't decide. Leave me a comment and let me know if you read in a second language. Do you like to listen or do you like to physically, read with your eyeballs? Let me know which one you prefer. The second challenge is to read something of Jane Austen's that is not one of her main 6 novels. So this would be her juvenilia or her letters or something like that. And that's the challenge that I'm not going to be doing this year. I just have so many other things planned for Jane Austen July. I really just can't add anything else in. So we just have to say goodbye to one of the challenges. And same thing for challenge number 3. Read a nonfiction work about Jane Austen or her time, and I just can't do everything. So that one is out the window as well. But then for challenge number 4, I actually have 4 books that meet this challenge. So I went overboard with one challenge and then threw the other ones out. Challenge number 4 is to read a retelling of a Jane Austen book or a work of historical fiction set in Jane Austen's time. So for a retelling of a Jane Austen book, I have Unmarriageable by Sonia Kamal. This is Pride and Prejudice in Pakistan. So this is set in modern day Pakistan, and it says the class-obsessed strata of Pakistani society. And this follows the Banat family, and Mrs. Banat is coaching her 5 daughters to hunt down a husband. I actually met the author of Unmarriageable when I was in Atlanta for the Jane Austen Society of North America event, and it was so amazing to be able to talk with her, and we got to chatting about everything we love about Jane Austen, and I was very blessed to receive this review copy from the bookstore where we had the event in exchange for a free and honest review. So I've been saving it up ever since May, having to resist the temptation to read it and save it up for July. I'm crazy excited about this one, especially because then when you meet the author, it feels like, ooh, you just have this, inside connection to the book. Then I have a work of historical fiction that is set in the Regency era. This is The Duke's Last Word. So this is a Christian romance novel by Sophie Lee Fox. And this is another author that I met at the Jane Austen Society of North America. And I really loved talking with her about Christian themes in Jane Austen's work. We had this whole conversation about Christianity and Jane Austen. And she was kind enough to send me an e-copy of her book in exchange for a free and honest review. The tagline says, "For love or money, who will have the last word?" This looks absolutely adorable. I am so in the mood for this really cute, adorable Christian romance set in the Regency era. I'm a mood reader and this is my mood right now. And this is another one where I've had to fight off that temptation to pick it up and save it up for July. And then I have two more historical fiction that are set in the Regency era. I have Jane and the Year Without a Summer and Jane and the Final Mystery. These are the last two books in the Jane Austen mystery series by Stephanie Barron. So I've talked about these a lot lately because I've been trying to finish up the series and read a bunch of these. I've been listening to them all on audiobook, narrated by Kate Redding, and I love the way that she narrates these books. So I just have two more audiobooks left to go. In this mystery series, Jane Austen is the main character, and it follows real events in her life and people that she really knew, but then there is a fictionalized murder mystery. It's really fun and interesting, and it's great to be able to learn more about the Regency era through this lens of Jane Austen's life and get to learn a little bit more about her and her family. I've enjoyed every single book in the series, and it's kind of bittersweet to be like, oh, there's only two more books left. But it also will be this lovely feeling of accomplishment to have finished a 15-book series. I feel like this also sort of applies to Challenge 3 to read a nonfiction work about Jane Austen or her time, because although it is fiction, part of it is nonfiction. So part of the mystery series does follow real events in Jane Austen's life. So it's a little bit for Challenge 3, but not really. Challenge 5 is to read a book by a contemporary of Jane Austen that would be a book that was published between 1775 and 1817. For this, I have Evelina by Frances Burney. This is another one where I can't decide whether I want to read it physically or whether I want to listen to an audiobook. So I do have an audiobook downloaded that I could listen to, and I can't decide which one do I want to do, because I also have this lovely Oxford World Classics edition that's really nice. I think it will probably depend on whether or not I can finish the Jane Austen mystery series by Stephanie Barron, because both of those are audiobook. If I finish both of those audiobooks in time, then I might do Evelina on audiobook as well. So it just depends on how much time I end up spending listening. So Evelina was published in 1778, so it fits perfectly for this challenge. I'm kind of giggling and laughing a little bit because I have been known to stretch the truth with this challenge in the past. I've been a little bit of a rebel as to what constitutes a contemporary of Jane Austen's. And I end up reading stuff that's actually technically Victorian and not Regency. But this time I am following the rules. I think the only other thing I've read from Frances Burney was Cecilia, and I really enjoyed that. I loved it so much. So I have high hopes for Evelina. Challenge number 6 is to watch a direct screen adaptation of a Jane Austen book. Since I'm reading Sense and Sensibility, I might just watch Sense and Sensibility, but which one? That's the question. Leave me a comment and let me know, which is your favorite adaptation of Sense and Sensibility? Which one of these should I watch? Then number 7 is to watch a modern screen adaptation or retelling of a Jane Austen book, and I do the exact same thing every year. I always rewatch Clueless. It's just become my little tradition now. I can't do anything different for this challenge because I always rewatch Clueless. Please leave me a comment and let me know, what is your TBR for Jane Austen July? What books are you choosing to fit some of these challenges? And especially, what screen adaptations. What movies and TV shows are you going to be watching? As always, I'm going to have a few different Jane Austen related or Jane Austen themed videos coming out in July, so be on the lookout for those. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, and remember, the right book in the right hands at the right time can change the world.